Did you know that the Mario movie is this week's punching bag on social media? Professional critics were given an early screening of the film where many professed that it was horrible. There was a tweet that was circling around on Twitter of the Mario movie's Rotten Tomatoes score. Pre-released to the public, the Mario movie sat at a 48% rating with critics. This sent the internet into a frenzy, and naturally so. I mean, the panic even forced world-renowned content creator the Black Okage to release a public statement that read, "Man, I hope this is a case of the critics being wrong." These are professional movie critics sharing their thoughts on a beloved hero that arguably single-handedly saved console gaming in the late 80s and early 90s. So obviously these professionals did their due diligence before speaking on said movie, right? I mean, otherwise we wouldn't have gotten such well-informed takes such as this one from Jeff Mitchell in the art house film Wire. Jeff went on to rate the Super Mario Bros. Movie a 2 out of 4, which is a 50% a failure, and he says, "The Super Mario Bros. Movie is super nostalgic, but it's not super fun. Granted, I haven't regularly played home video games since NBA Jam circa 1995. Wow! A man who hasn't touched a video game in 28 years wasn't fond of a movie about a video game franchise that he doesn't even play because he was too busy shouting back in 1995. Since the initial reviews, the film has been released to the public, and the Mario movie at the time of this recording is currently sitting at a 96% Rotten Tomatoes rating with the people. A quick scroll through the 200 plus professional critical reviews and you'll find that many shared similar takes as Jeff Mitchell. It seems to be a serious disconnect between the elite media and the general public. And where I'm from, when you show up to a job incapable and ill-advised, we call that lazy and unqualified. It's almost as if these professionals should just shut the fuck up. Ladies and gentlemen, I have completed my screening of the Mario movie and I am happy to report back that I enjoyed it. The best way to describe this film is it's exactly what I thought it should be, and it's exactly what it needed to be. A well-produced, short, silly children's film that respects the source material. One of the biggest red flags that I noticed about the early reviews is that it seemed as if these critics were looking for some deep, meaningful film, as if they expected to find the answer of what's inside of a black hole from the Mario movie. I was just looking to have fun, and that's what I got. To claim the writing in this film is shallow is just obscene, seeing as the writing in the games are also shallow. The story in the majority of Mario games serve as a catalyst to get you from point A to B. Mario games are great because it's about the user's personal experience. It's almost as if these critics came into this movie assuming Mario had evolved into something similar as The Last of Us, which, by the way, I did a review on that show. There will be a link in the description box below. Wink, wink, wink. I don't agree the writing is poor in the Mario movie. I actually commend Nintendo because the source material doesn't have a lot to work with, and they made the most with what they had, and they even gave more backstory into certain characters such as Peach. Now, if you would have made the argument that the story is simple, I would agree. But even if that's the case, being simple doesn't make it bad. It makes it respectful to the source material, and it makes it easily digestible for its target audience, which, by the way, is children. I played damn near every mainline Mario game and tons of spin-offs, and I've always enjoyed them because I've accepted them for what they are. Games rated E for everyone. I have never judged Mario the way I judge The Witcher or the Mass Effect series. This goes back to a lack of due diligence. Regardless if you game or not, a simple search on Bing would have taught you that every Mario game is rated E for everyone, as in it's designed to appeal to children. So why would you go into a children's movie expecting to see The Godfather? The writing did what it needed to do. It set up a struggle for our hero to overcome, which got us from point A to B, just like the games. Where the Mario movie shines is in its interactions with its characters and Easter eggs riddled throughout. I am genuinely shocked how funny this film was. I caught myself laughing out loud several times throughout its 92-minute runtime. The star of the show, in my opinion, was ironically a blue star, or a Lumily as they're known in the games. This little dude says some of the most self-deprecating and sadistic stuff in the cutest voice, so the contrast and energy was absolutely hilarious. So I want to give a special shout out to the voice actor of the Lumily in the film, which was Juliette Jelinek. She killed that role. I've seen some complaints about Peach. You've got some right-wing pundits claiming Nintendo turned her into a raging feminist, which is hilarious, by the way, because once again, this is a children's movie. But in the defense of Peach, I understand why some changes were made. First off, I don't think she's a raging feminist in this movie trying to push some agenda about being a single female lawyer, having lots of sex in the city and whatnot. They did make her a strong fighter, but then she's a strong fighter in Smash Bros, so I thought that was lore accurate. I think what people got uptight about in this film was she was teaching Mario some of the ways of the warrior, but I believe this was done because, once again, the source material is very simple. In the games, Mario just knows how to do stuff without any real explanation. That works in a video game because the fun is dictated by the user's experience, but that doesn't really work in film storytelling. You have to give a little bit more context as to why things are the way that they are. Mario starts off as a plumber and Peach pushes him in the right direction where eventually he does find his own path. So yes, that's different from the game, but that's by design. This, just like the Sonic movies, will attract a new audience, and I believe this was Miyamoto doing his best to usher in a new generation of Mario fans by providing some type of context. Because then if there was no context, y'all would also complain, how did this plumber from Brooklyn end up learning how to do all this flipping and dipping and shooting fireballs and changing suits? One of my favorite aspects of this movie is the fact that it's one giant piece of fan service. I believe Nintendo released this film on Easter weekend on purpose because this film is like one giant Easter egg hunt. If you're a fan of Mario, you're going to sit there saying to yourself out loud, oh, that's from that, and that's from that. And there was so many cool references that I caught in this film that I lost count. It made you feel like a kid again, and I gotta say, nobody does nostalgia like Nintendo. And can I also say kudos to Illumination? They are the ones who did the animation on this film and other films such as Minions and The Grinch. This is one of the best looking animated films that I've seen in a while. The way the film transitions between the real world and the Mushroom Kingdom, yet they managed to somehow make it all look cohesive, is amazing. And the lighting was immaculate, especially during a scene where Mario finds himself in the middle of the ocean. I caught myself thinking, ooh, look at the water graphics, as if I was playing a video game.
So what's the catch?
Although I enjoyed the movies, I did have a couple of gripes with it. I didn't like that the film split up the Mario brothers. I would have preferred to see Mario and Luigi doing their thing together in the first one. The plot is so simple that I think they could have told a similar story without breaking the family apart. And I also didn't enjoy the fact that this movie felt like it was flirting with the concept of Luigi's Mansion. There were some aesthetics in the film that felt like callbacks to Luigi's Mansion. Even the way he carried his plumber tools looks similar to the way he carries the ghost vacuum in the games. Either do it or don't do it. You gotta commit, and I prefer y'all didn't do it at all. I think that could have been something cool for like a sequel film. They could literally copy the original game where Mario gets captured by King Boo and put in a painting and Luigi has to rescue him. The Luigi's Mansion franchise is some of my favorite Nintendo games, so I didn't appreciate that half-ass effort. But overall, the effort in this film is good. The critics will have you thinking this is an animated version of the 90s live-action Mario film, and that is the farthest thing from the truth. This is a good kids movie. Not great, but it is good. If I had to rate it, I'd give it a solid 7.5 out of 10. It's good, but there is room to improve. It's an above average kids film. Just do not go into theater expecting to see a classic like Finding Nemo, and instead expect to see Shark Tale. And that's okay, because I don't know about you, but I like Shark Tale. But hey, I'm just saying. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have entered the serious spoiler territory. If you have not seen the movie, please pause the video and come back to this part when you have the time. All right, whoever's still listening, just hear me out. Not only do I disagree that the writing in this film was weak, but I'd make the case that it was fairly strong. That is, if you're familiar with the source material. Yoshi arriving in the post-credit scene is just too obvious. Of course he's gonna appear in future movies. I want to talk about something else. There were so many cool Easter eggs sprinkled throughout this film, but one kept reoccurring, and it was how massive the world of Mario is. It started with the opening scene where the brothers had to fix that couple's sink. If you notice, when it cut to that shot of the couple sitting on the couch while Mario and Luigi worked on their sink, the gentleman that was on the couch was reading a book, and it was titled Galaxies, and the cover image of that book was a planet from Super Mario Galaxy. Then Peach later in the movie mentions to Mario that there are many galaxies outside of the Mushroom Kingdom, once again in reference to Super Mario Galaxy. One of the reoccurring characters was that sadistic Lumily. So we know that Rosalina exists somewhere, and the film established that the Donkey Kong Empire is a neighboring kingdom of the Mushroom Kingdom. Now, I could be digging too deep, but the point I'm trying to make is that Miyamoto, whether intentional or not, left the door wide open for cameos from other Nintendo staples. If the Donkey Kong Empire is adjacent to the Mushroom Kingdom, who's to say the Hyrule Kingdom doesn't neighbor the Mushroom Kingdom either? Are you following me now? I'm saying the writing was cohesive enough that we could see Mario, Link, Peach, and Zelda team up. I mean, imagine a film where Bowser and and Ganon create some type of Legion of Doom. But I'm not finished. Kirby helms from the Dream Kingdom. Who's to say the Dream Kingdom isn't adjacent to the Mushroom Kingdom? What if King Dedede wants to team up with Bowser and Ganon and once again create a Legion of Doom? Then Kirby pulling up for the smoke with Mario and Link. But I'm not done. What about all the kingdoms in Fire Emblem? We could get an appearance from Roy and Marth. And then also, Mario is from Brooklyn in this film, which establishes Earth in the Mario lore, and that means we could see Little Mac. And all of this is possible because all of Nintendo's games have a cartoony art style, so that would make it easy for it all to mesh together. But let me bring it back to the galaxies theory. Since the film established other galaxies haven't been explored, do you know who lives in space? Let's see, Fox, Falco, Peppy, and Slippy. And don't forget, Samus is out in space with the big guns too. Captain Falcon, I think he live in space because them cars don't look like they could be on Earth. I don't know. Now, will any of this happen? Probably not. But the point I'm trying to make is that we can't rule it out. Nintendo basically established their own cinematic universe through this Mario movie, and they've left the door wide open for some type of potential Super Smash Bros. Movie. But hey, once again, I'm just saying.